What's up, guys? Look, I want to talk about the best protein sources. And the foods I'm going to talk about today, these should be in everybody's diet in kind of mass quantity too. This should be making up a big portion of what you're eating every day. And you'll notice a pattern between these foods. And that pattern is that they're all extremely lean protein sources where you're not getting a bunch of extra calories from fat. When you're eating lean protein sources and not consuming so much fat, it's going to leave a lot of room in your diet so that we can get more carbs. You're already in a massive disadvantage when you're on a cut as far as like building muscle and training goes. We want to make sure that we can remove some of the fat, especially saturated fat, from your diet and just kind of like squash the calories a little bit so that you've got room to get every single as many grams of carbs as possible. This is going to kind of ensure that, you know, while you're losing body fat, your body's still in a climate where you're going to be able to build muscle or even just maintain as you start losing weight. That's why this stuff's so critical. In the last video, I talked about how important it is to start the day with a really good high protein, high fiber breakfast. And throughout the rest of the day, it really is just quick math. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. So for me, 200 grams of protein is going to be my daily goal. And if I'm consuming so let's say 40 grams for breakfast, and do the rest of the math, that means I've got 4 more meals or even like a snack where I need to be getting 40 grams. And again, I set my protein goal pretty high. There's a lot of days where I'm not hitting this and I'm closer to 175, 180. And that's totally fine. It's better to set the bar high and fall short a couple of days a week than to just set the bar way too low and then, kind of still fall short. And the way that these numbers are set up, like this stuff should be pretty fluid. Let's say you have a really small breakfast, maybe you only got 20 grams of protein. Just redo your math, divide this thing up and figure out how many grams roughly that you're going to need to eat meal by meal. This is where some of the foods in this that I'm going to talk about today are really easy and quick. If you're in a pinch, which is why they're really good sources, and it's going to keep your calories in check as well. Life can be really unpredictable. And like I said, some days you're not going to be able to hit your goal. It's totally fine. Like I've talked about in prior videos, you just got to keep your head up. The next day is going to come and you just have to reset and try again. And if you're doing this stuff, even 5 days out of the week, you're going to see some huge gains and make some really good progress. This is a long game we're playing. I can't stress that enough. This is not something that's going to happen in 2 weeks. It's not something that's going to happen in 6 weeks. This is going to take months, and it's going to take a long time to start to kind of instill these habits so that this stuff just becomes, you're basically just moving on autopilot at a certain point. That is the goal. So the first food I'm going to talk about is egg whites. And I put this at the top of the list, one, because everybody can eat this, vegetarians included, and it's literally just liquid protein. All right. You're not getting any calories from any other macronutrient. This is essentially just pure protein. I'd put whole eggs in this category as well. But again, you're going to be getting a little bit more fat, so the calories are going to be up a little bit. Again, like I talked about before, you definitely do. There's a place in the diet for whole eggs, whether you're on a strict cut or not. The nutrients that you're going to attain from eating the yolk they really are essential. And with egg whites, I mean, just the copious amount of volume that you're going to be able to eat. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen like 6 servings of egg whites. I mean, it's essentially just it's a mountain. Guys, it's so much food. This is going to help you stay full, as the day moves on. They're also really easy and simple to prepare. You can scramble them, an omelet, whatever floats your boat. If you're an absolute sicko, you can just drink them straight up out of the carton. Like there's endless amount of ways that you can prepare this stuff. And it's not very time consuming at all, which is why this is definitely like top of the list. If you're a vegetarian, you're going to have cartons and cartons and cartons of egg whites on deck. All right. This and another protein source I'm going to talk about later in the video are just going to be so critical and so essential in you reaching your goals. So this is going to have to be a component of a lot of the meals that you're eating. I know someone who's vegetarian, and they go about their day just eating kind of, their regular meals, but they're having a couple of servings of egg whites on the side just to ensure that they're really hitting their protein each meal. About 200 grams of egg whites, you're going to get, I don't know, around 23 grams of protein at only 100 calories. If you guys don't realize how insane that is, not saying you should do this, you absolutely should not. But if you ate 1,000 calories worth of egg whites a day, and that's all you eat, you get 200 plus grams of protein as well. So again, like the trade-off is just so lean. It's so easy to fit this in your calorie budget and make sure that you're hitting your protein. All right. So that's the first food. The next food is going to be chicken breasts. All right. 4 ounces, you're going to get, I don't know, anywhere from 25 to 28 grams of protein at around 140, 150 calories. So again, just like I talked about with the egg whites, it's essentially just pure protein. It's one of the leanest sources. This is definitely my go-to source. If you're somebody who has like palate fatigue and eating the same foods around the clock, you kind of get tired of them. This can be prepared in so many different ways. All right. You can grill, pan fry, if you have a smoker. I mean, there's literally just endless amount of ways to prepare this. Same thing with seasonings and different low calorie sauces. I eat chicken every single day. I have for, 6 years at least. I've been eating chicken every day, at least 6 ounces. The fridge is just stocked up at all times. There's not really a whole lot else to say about it. Micronutritional value is not anything mind blowing, but again, when you're eating such lean protein sources, it leaves a lot of room in your diet to eat other good sources of fat and carbs that are going to give you all the micros that you need. The next food is going to be tuna. And with tuna, it could be from a can. It could be sushi grade, sashimi, which that's what we eat here a lot. You're going to get probably, per 4 ounces, 25 grams of protein per 130 calories. So again, really, really, really lean. And unlike the first two protein sources, there's actually like pretty decent micronutritional value. You're going to get a lot of, like vitamin B12 and niacin or vitamin B3. And the benefit of that is that it's going to help your body convert food to energy and not store these extra calories as fat. So as you get deeper into a cut, that's going to be very, very essential in maintaining the lean tissue that you have, while losing body fat. So yeah, the only downside I could possibly think of is that this shit stinks. So don't be that asshole who brings this stuff to the office and you like completely stink the place up. Like, don't be that guy. That's really the only downside I could think of. Oh, and don't eat 10 cans a day so you die of mercury poisoning. You don't want to do that either. So at the end of the day, another really lean, convenient protein source. The next food is going to be ground beef, specifically lean ground beef. And even like a 93.7, it's not going to be as lean as tuna or chicken breasts or egg whites, but micronutritional value way higher. You're going to get B vitamins, iron, zinc. If you're not taking a creatine supplement, which I have no idea why you wouldn't be, if you're serious about training and building muscle, that should be something that's in the diet. But red meat, lean ground beef, also a good source of creatine. And just like chicken, this is something that you can prepare in an infinite amount of ways. And I'd lump like a sirloin or like a fillet cut of beef into this category as well. It's all kind of the same shit. So make sure that it's a lean ground beef though, like 93.7. That's what you guys should be aiming for. Even like a 90.10, it's fine, but I don't know why you'd want to just bring in a bunch of extra calories in the form of fat, in the form of saturated fat, for no reason. What? Because it's going to stay a little bit, if you're reheating it, it's a little bit juicier. Maybe the flavor is better, but that's by like 3%. So that's not a trade-off that I would consider if you're serious about this. If it's dry, throw some beef broth on that shit and reheat it. You're going to be just fine. And the last food we're going to talk about is Greek yogurt, non-fat Greek yogurt. As a vegetarian, just like the egg whites, this stuff's got to be, your fridge should just be full at all times. Really quick and easy to eat when you're in a pinch. 1 cup, 150 calories. You're going to get, 20 to 25 grams of protein. Really, really, really good lean protein source. I would lump whey protein into this category as well. The Greek yogurt, the advantage is just a little bit more dense in micronutrients, and you're getting probiotics and things like this that are going to support digestion and gut health. So that is kind of the main benefit. But with that being said, the whey protein is probably going to be even leaner, and so you're taking in much less calories. That's something you can also. It's drinkable. You don't even have to fucking chew. You know, you've got this thing. You got this thing prepared. It took you 2 minutes. You drink it. You know, you're full for 2 hours, and you're hitting your protein goal. So very, very crucial in that regard. And all 5 of these sources, like maybe they're not the best source for micronutrients, but when you're on a cut, and I'm talking just from like a fat loss standpoint, it's going to leave so much room in your diet for the other foods necessary to get all of your micros and ensure that everything is upregulated. Your entire body, all systems are upregulated. So yeah, guys, those are the 5 foods. And I wanted to include some vegetarian options because there's a lot of vegetarian people out there. And I will say the 3 sources on this list, you're probably going to get kind of tired of at some point because you're going to be eating that shit around the clock. You're playing on all Madden, you know, and then somebody who eats animal product, they're playing on rookie mode. It's so much easier. So you're going to have to make sure that you have this stuff, you know, stocked up at all times. And these lean protein sources are so good when you're vegetarian because a lot of the other sources just come with too many calories from fat specifically. You know, I'm talking like your beans and nuts and nut butters and things like this. They're not protein sources, guys. There is small amounts of protein, but you know, if you're eating that and you're not eating any of the protein sources that I talked about, like you're just going to get fat because you're consuming way too many calories at that point. So not to say that those don't have a place in the diet, they definitely do, but as like a main option to get protein to, you know, make sure that your body's in a good environment to build muscle and get stronger, it's just not ideal. And I'll talk about some of those other protein sources in the next video. The next video is going to be about things that, you know, protein sources that might be slowing down your fat loss. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully this was helpful, guys. Like, subscribe, and new video coming in a couple days. So be on the lookout. Peace.